The wind howled across the open plains of Willow Creek, sweeping dust and memories through the night. On the edge of his 1,000-acre ranch stood John Carver, a man the town called the Millionaire Cowboy. He had everything money could buy: land, cattle, and the respect of every rancher for 50 miles. But as he looked toward the flickering light in his big empty house, he felt only silence. Inside that house were 2 little girls, Emma, 7, and Lily, 4. They were his heartbeat, the reason he worked till midnight, the reason he never remarried after tragedy stole his wife 3 winters ago. Emma had begun to ask questions lately. "Daddy, why don't we have a mommy like the other kids?" Each time John's throat tightened, and he'd whisper, "Someday, sweetheart, someday." That someday seemed far away, until the storm brought a stranger. Lightning split the sky as John rode back from the far fence line. Through the curtain of rain he saw movement by the old barn, a slender figure wrapped in a torn shawl, clutching something to her chest. He drew his horse to a stop. "Hey, you there!" he called over the thunder. "You'll freeze out here." The figure hesitated, then stepped into the lamplight. Mud streaked her dress, fear shadowed her eyes. She looked like she hadn't eaten properly in days. "I'm sorry," she said, voice trembling. I didn't mean to trespass. I just needed somewhere dry for the night. Please, I'll leave at dawn." John swung off his horse. "You're not sleeping in a barn in this storm. Come inside." She shook her head quickly. "No, sir. Folks don't take kindly to people like me." He frowned. "People like you?" Her eyes glistened. "The town calls me the outcast. I used to work at Miller's boarding house, but after my husband died, they said I brought bad luck. I had nowhere else to go." John studied her face, pale, tired, but proud. Something in her voice stirred an old ache in him. "What's your name?" "Clara May." He nodded. "Well, miss, Clara May, this storm's meaner than gossip. Come inside. I got 2 little girls who could use company tonight, and you look like you could use a warm meal." Inside the big ranch house, the fireplace glowed. Emma and Lily ran to the door, curious. "Daddy!" "Who's that?" Emma asked, hiding behind his leg. "This here's Miss Clara May," John said softly. "She's going to stay till the storm passes." The girl's eyes widened with shy excitement. Clara smiled gently. "Hello, sweethearts." Within minutes, the air filled with laughter and the smell of hot stew. Clara helped set the table, her hands trembling as she reached for the bowls. John noticed. He also noticed how carefully she spoke, as if afraid any wrong word would send her back into the rain. After supper, as the girls fell asleep by the fire, John offered Clara a guest room. She hesitated at the doorway. "I can't repay you, Mr. Carver." He smiled faintly. "Don't worry about it, just rest." But neither of them slept much that night. John stared at the ceiling, listening to the storm fade. Something about Clara's presence had quieted the ache inside him. He'd taken in ranch hands, strays, and travelers before, but this was different. And Clara lay awake, staring out the window at the endless fields, wondering why a man like him had shown her kindness when no one else would. Morning brought sunlight and the scent of wet earth. Clara helped Emma and Lily make breakfast before John even came downstairs. When he saw them all in the kitchen, Clara humming softly, the girls giggling, a rare warmth spread through him. "You sure know your way around a kitchen," he said, pouring coffee. "My mama taught me before she passed," Clara replied, said feeding people was another way of loving them. The room fell quiet for a moment. John's heart caught in his chest, because that was exactly what his late wife used to say. Days passed. The storm cleared, but Clara stayed. She helped around the ranch, mended the girls' clothes, and filled the halls with music again. The neighbors began to whisper, "The outcast living with the millionaire cowboy?" John ignored them. For the first time in years he heard his daughters laugh freely. One evening, while the sun sank behind the hills, he found Clara by the fence line, brushing her hair loose in the wind. "You ever think about starting over?" he asked quietly. She gave a sad smile. "I tried once, but it seems the world won't let a woman forget her past." He stepped closer. "Then maybe you just need a man who doesn't care about it." Their eyes met, a spark, raw and unspoken. Before either could say more, Lily's laughter rang out from the porch. The moment slipped away, but the thought stayed. That night, John sat by the fire with his daughters asleep on his lap. Clara walked in carrying a quilt she'd mended. He looked up. "Clara," he began, his voice rough with emotion, "you ever wonder if fate brings people together for a reason?" She nodded slowly. "I do now." He took a breath, the words heavy but certain. "I need a mother for my girls, and you need shelter. Maybe it's crazy, but maybe we could help each other." Clara's eyes widened. "Mr. Carver, are you saying what I think you're saying?" He smiled gently. "I'm saying this ranch has room for one more heart, if you'll have it." The fire crackled, their shadows dancing on the walls. Two souls who'd both lost everything, suddenly seeing hope again. For a few bright weeks, the Carver ranch felt alive again. The girls had someone to braid their hair, the kitchen always smelled of warm bread, and even the horses seemed to carry their heads a little higher. Clara laughed more easily, and sometimes, when John watched her across the dinner table, he almost forgot the weight that used to sit on his chest. But Willow Creek had long memories and sharper tongues. By the third Sunday, whispers started circling the pews of the tiny white church. The outcast moved in with the Carver man. "She's after his money. Poor little girls, won't have a chance." Clara felt those whispers like cold rain. She kept her head down as she walked with Emma and Lily after service, but the stares followed her all the way to the buggy. John noticed. He tightened his jaw and tipped his hat to the gossips, daring them to say a word out loud. None did, but their silence spoke plenty. That night, after the girls went to bed, Clara stood at the sink washing dishes. "They're right, you know," she said softly. "People won't forgive what they think I am." John leaned against the doorway. "And what's that?" She sighed. "A mistake that keeps breathin'." He stepped closer. "You saved my girls from their loneliness, Clara. You gave this house its heart back. Don't let small minds steal that." Tears shimmered in her eyes, but she managed to smile. "You make it sound easy." He touched her shoulder gently. "Nothing worth doing ever is." The next morning, a letter arrived, an invitation to the annual Willow Creek Harvest Ball. It was the biggest social event of the year. The Carvers were expected to attend. John folded the envelope, thinking. "You and the girls should come," he said. "It'd do us all good." Clara froze. "Me? They won't want me there." "That's exactly why you should go," he answered. "They need to see who you really are." For days she argued, but he wouldn't budge. Finally, she sewed a simple blue dress from scraps of fabric and told herself she'd survive one evening of stares. Music swells, fiddle and soft piano. The night of the harvest ball glittered with lanterns and laughter. When Clara stepped into the hall, conversation faltered. Every head turned. She felt her heart hammer against her ribs, ready to run, until she heard Lily's giggle and John's calm voice beside her. "You look beautiful," he whispered. And just like that, the fear loosened. The music started. John offered his hand. "Dance with me?" Her fingers trembled as she placed them in his. The crowd watched as the millionaire cowboy and the outcast widow moved slowly across the floor. Whispers turned to murmurs, murmurs to silence, and for a few minutes all Clara could see was John's steady gaze. When the song ended, he didn't let go. Instead, he cleared his throat and called out, "Friends, I reckon it's time y'all heard something straight from me." The hall hushed. He looked at Clara, then back to the crowd. "This woman saved my family when we were drowning in grief. My girls love her, I love her, and if anyone's got a problem with that, they can take it up with me." Gasps rippled through the room. Clara's knees nearly gave way. He turned to her fully, eyes soft. "Clara May, I asked you once if fate brings folks together for a reason. I believe it does. I need a mother for my girls, and you need a home. Would you do me the honor of being my wife?" The hall was so quiet they could hear the crackle of the oil lamps. Clara's voice shook. "John, I don't deserve—" He cut her off gently. "You deserve every bit of peace this world owes you." Tears slipped down her cheeks as she whispered, "Yes." The crowd erupted, some in applause, some in disbelief, but none of it mattered. John pulled her into his arms as Emma and Lily cheered from the corner.